formerly known as detainees, are persons who are being held by the PNP in its custodial facilities who were arrested for an offense or previous violation of law. The answer is persons under PNP custody (PUPC). Means the materials used to cover the human body in order to prevent contamination from the disease. This includes facial mask, eye protector or goggles, gown, gloves, and others. The answer is personal protective equipment (PPE). Refers to all those persons who by direct provision of law or by appointment of competent authority are charged with the maintenance of public order and the protection and security of life and property, as well as all persons who come to the aid of agents of authority. It being public functionaries are entitled to be considered as agents of authority. It being understood, nevertheless, that in order that the persons who come to the aid of an agent of authority may be considered as agents of authority, it is an essential condition that they lend such assistance, by virtue of an order or request of such agent of authority. The answer is person in authority. Is a frisk, or external feeling of the outer garments of an individual for weapons only. The answer is pat-down search. An epidemic of infectious disease that spread through human population across a large region, multiple continents or even worldwide. The answer is pandemic. Means an epidemic limited to localized increase in the incidence of a disease, example, in a village, town, or closed institution. The answer is outbreak. A combination of two or more persons who are engaged in a criminal or virtual criminal activity on a continuing basis for the purpose of profit or power using gangland style to attain their purpose. The answer is organized crime. An intermediary organization between the people and the state, and where the principal interest is to promote the welfare of the poor and disadvantaged, and where the members do not necessarily belong to such a marginalized sector and live in the same area. The answer is non-government organization. A police intervention in strict accord with the use of force continuum and/or principle of proportionality on the use of force purposely to contain or stop the unlawful aggression of the offender. This may include an arrest, capture, surrender or other acts to subdue the suspect. The answer is neutralization. A disaster caused by natural forces rather than by human action, examples, floods, storms, typhoons, tornadoes, drought, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. The answer is natural disaster. It is a photograph of the suspect taken after one is arrested. The purpose of the mug shot is to allow law enforcement agencies to have a photographic record of the arrested individual to allow for identification by victims and investigators. They may be compiled into a mug book or rogues gallery in order to help determine the identity of a criminal in high-profile cases. Mug shots may also be published by the media. The mug shot shall be taken in 4 manners: front view half body, left side view half body, right side view half body, front view whole body. It shall be printed in 4R size and attached or printed on the mug shot sheet of the PNPBF. It is a digital camera that is used. The camera should have a resolution of not less than 5 megapixel. The answer is mug shot or booking photograph. A person driving a motor vehicle. The answer is motorists. Anyone whose whereabouts cannot be established and where the circumstances are out of character or the context suggests the person may be subject of crime or at risk of harm to themselves or another. The answer is missing person. Information within the recording file containing any digital identifiers that are captured as part of the actual recording, such as the recording date, time, GPS coordinates, etc. The answer is metadata. Composed of PNP personnel from the different units, offices with health-related courses and profession aimed to provide medical augmentation in response to COVID-19 and other future health-related emergencies. The answer is Medical Reserve Force (MRFs). Means the highest degree of restraint that the police, military and other peacekeeping authorities shall observe during a public assembly or in the dispersal of the same. The answer is maximum tolerance. Police units are locally assigned and have responsibility in the area. Examples are PS, MPS, CPS, PCP, CPO, PPO, PRO, etc.? The answer is Local Police Unit (LPU). Are relationships and interactions between tasks, functions, departments and organizations that promote flow of information, ideas, and integration towards the achievement of shared objectives. The answer is linkages. A police unit that has the primary responsibility of accounting targeted wanted persons. The answer is lead unit. Refers to cause a person or group of people to move forward in unison for a good cause of the majority. The answer is lead. It involves PNP, initiated projects and activities geared towards improving the peace and order situation and professionalizing the people. The answer is law enforcement. The areas of an airport and buildings to which both traveling and non-traveling public have unrestricted access, as distinguished from airside areas in SRA where access is controlled. The answer is landslide. As used in the Constitution and statutes, means jurisdiction over the subject matter only, unless an exception arises by reasons of its employment in a broader sense. The answer is jurisdiction. Used to separate all ill persons suspected to have an ED infections from those who are healthy. The answer is isolation. Is the police officer who determines the cause or motive of the crime, identifies and interviews witnesses, and effects arrest of suspects. The answer is investigator on case. In the performance of his duties, the investigator must seek to establish the 6 cardinal points of investigation, namely: 1. What specific offense has been committed? 2. How the offense was committed? 3. Who committed it? 4. Where the offense was committed? 5. When it was committed? 6. Why it was committed? I repeat. 1. What specific offense has been committed? 2. How the offense was committed? 3. Who committed it? 4. Where the offense was committed? 5. When it was committed? 6. Why it was committed? Investigation is the collection of facts to accomplish a threefold aim, namely: 1. To identify the suspect. 2. To locate the suspect. 3. To provide evidence of his guilt. Refers to a series of activities designed to address issues that cause the child to commit an offense. It may take the form of an individualized treatment program, which may include counseling, skills training, education and other activities that will enhance his psychological, emotional and psychosocial well-being. The answer is intervention. Is the informal and summary investigation conducted by a public prosecutor called the inquest prosecutor in criminal cases involving a person arrested, without the benefit of a warrant issued by the court, and thereafter detained, for the purpose of determining whether or not the warrantless arrest is valid. Said arrested person should remain under custody and be correspondingly charged in court. The answer is inquest proceedings. Refers to the totality of electronic means to access, create, collect, store, process, receive, transmit, present and disseminate information. The answer is Information and Communication Technology (ICT). An office that is provided in all police stations which addresses all incidents involving violence against women and their children, trafficking in person, and other gender-based violence such as those provided for in PNP policies and Philippine laws. The answer is Women and Children Protection Desk. It is a seaborne law enforcement operation that involves the boarding of a marine vessel violating laws within Philippine territorial waters and rivers including port and harbors. The same shall include the subsequent search of the vessel and seizure of evidence found therein that is incidental to the arrest. The answer is vessel board search and seizure. Refers to an attack amounting to actual or imminent threat to the life, limb, or right of the person claiming self-defense. Unlawful aggression. Refers to an acronym for television, radio, internet, messaging and print, which are channels or ways of public information. The answer is TRIMP. Also called intimate partner violence. The answer is violence against women and their children. The recruitment, transport, transfer or harboring, or receipt of persons with or without consent or knowledge, within or across national borders, by means of threat or use of force, or other forms of coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, abuse of power or of position, taking advantage of the vulnerability of the person, or the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of the person having control over another person for the purpose of exploitation or the prostitution of others or others forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor, or services, slavery, servitude or the removal or sale of organs. The answer is trafficking in persons. Shall refer to the Philippine government and its relevant government agencies, organizations and entities. The answer is the state. Shall refer to any entity organized for the purpose of engaging in terrorism, or those proscribed under Section 26 of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, or to United Nations Security Council designated terrorist organizations. The answer is terrorist organization, association or group of persons. Any person who commits an act punishable under the revised penal code hereby sowing and creating a condition of widespread and extraordinary fear and panic among the populace, in order to coerce the government to give in to an unlawful demand shall be guilty of the crime of terrorism. Other national support units are assigned in a regional or provincial area. The answer is territorial police unit. Is the brief stopping of an individual, whether on foot or in a vehicle, based on reasonable suspicion, probable cause, for the purpose of determining the individual's identity and resolving the officer's suspicion concerning criminal activity. The answer is spot check. Accosting refers to a group of PNP personnel authorized to manage, administer the official PNP social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram and responsible in addressing issues and concerns posted by the public in the social network service. The answer is social networking team. Refers to a PCO or PNCO who assesses and scrutinizes details of contents to be posted in official PNP social media pages and accounts. The answer is social media officer. Are channels and forms of communication with the use of the internet where netizens create online accounts to create and share content, and participate in sharing information, ideas, personal messages, and other contents, such as videos and pictures. The answer is social media. The process of reducing contacts between individuals to reduce the chance of the disease spreading. Community social distancing can include barring public gatherings, closing public places such as malls and movie theaters, canceling sporting and entertainment events, and closing non-essential workplaces. The answer is social distancing. An evaluation of security needs including the identification of vulnerabilities which could be exploited to carry out an act of unlawful interference, and the recommendation of corrective actions. The answer is security survey. A properly trained and cleared officer whose appointment is covered by appropriate orders with the concurrence of the Directorate for Intelligence and possesses the following qualifications. 1. Cleared in accordance with provision of PNPRG 200-012 dated the 29th of June 1991, for access to the highest classified material his office is authorized to handle. 2. Possess a certificate of training in a regular security course or its equivalent in service training security course with program of instructions patterned after an approved security training course. 3. Be conversant with the provisions of PNPRG 200-012 and all other publications pertinent to the duties and responsibilities of a security officer. Is an order in writing issued in the name of the people of the Philippines, signed by a judge and directed to a peace officer, commanding him to search for personal property described therein and bring it before the court. Search warrant includes the processing of crime scene, technical and forensic examination of evidence and similar scientific investigative assistance. The answer is scene of the crime operations, SOCO. Limiting the activities of an individual infected with a contagious disease to prevent the spread of the disease to others. Examples: preventing a typhoid carrier from working in a restaurant. Quarantining a person with infectious tuberculosis. The answer is restriction. Digital material generated as a result of using body-worn cameras or alternative recording devices, which contain images and audio-video footage. It shall include the copies of the material created by way of copying to portable media storage and other data repositories. The answer is recording. Facts that, within totality of the circumstances, led an officer to reasonably suspect, or to have probable cause to believe, that criminal activity has been, is being, or is about to be committed. The answer is reasonable suspicion. Means the separation of people who have been exposed to an illness, usually an infection, but are not ill or have not yet shown any sign of the illness. The answer is quarantine. Elective and appointive officials and employees, permanent or temporary, whether in the classified or unclassified or exemption service receiving compensation, event nominal, from the government. The answer is public officer. Refers to the information that may be of interest to the general public about policy, procedures, events such and other newsworthy, ongoing investigations. The answer is public information. Shall include any highway, boulevard, avenue, road, street, bridge or other thoroughfare, park, plaza, square, and/or any open space of public ownership where the people are allowed access. The answer is public place. Means any rally, demonstration, march, parade, procession or any other form of mass or concerted action held in a public place for the purpose of presenting a lawful cause, or expressing an opinion to the general public on any particular issue, or protesting or influencing any state of affairs whether political, economic or social, or petitioning the government for redress of grievances. The answer is public assembly. Probable cause as used in flagging down motorists who are under the influence of alcohol, and/or dangerous drugs and similar substances. Rule 2.3c shall mean that the law enforcement officer has reasonable ground to believe that the person driving the motor vehicle is under the influence of alcohol, dangerous drugs and/or other similar substances upon personally witnessing a traffic offense committed. By means of lane straddling, making sudden stops, overspeeding, swerving or weaving in such an apparent way as to indicate that the driver is under the influence of alcohol, dangerous drugs and/or other similar substances. Refers to the keeping of data that already exists in a stored form, protected from anything that would cause its current quality or condition to change or deteriorate. The answer is preservation. Refers to all types of clothing, apparel, or gear including other accessories and accoutrements whose specifications were reviewed, deliberated and evaluated by the Uniforms and Equipment Specifications Board (UESB) and approved by the Chief PNP based on the NAPOLCOM approved standards and National Historical Commission of the Philippines (NHCP) for logos and pins, to be worn by the PNP personnel while participating in law enforcement police operational and administrative activities. The answer is prescribed uniform. Refers to an area where an explosion incident occurred whether due to detonation or controlled explosion as a result of render safe procedure. The answer is post-blast crime scene. Refers to the density of inhabitants in a given area. The figure to be used is the medium assumption as per the records from the Philippine Statistics Authority (PSA). The answer is population. The establishment of connection between the police and the community in order to forge partnership and strengthen collaboration and linkages for a common good. The answer is police-community relations. An official logbook, covered blue with hardbound cover that contains the daily register of all crime incident reports, official summary of arrests and other significant events, activities reported in the police station. Relatedly, a separate pink blotter for WCPD to record all cases involving violence against women and children and those cases involving a child in conflict with the law that fall under the mandate of WCPDs. The answer is police blotter. A location where the search, which is duly authorized by the PNP, is conducted to deter, prevent the commission of crimes, enforce the law, and for other legitimate purposes. Police checkpoint. Any personnel working in the PNP who holds a regular position and has any corresponding restriction access. It may be uniformed or non-uniformed personnel. The answer is PNP personnel, formerly known as jailer, who is responsible for the overall status of a person in custody. The answer is PNP custodial officer. Planned anti-illegal drug operations. Positive anti-illegal drug operations duly coordinated, such as by bust, implementation of search warrant, Interdiction and marijuana eradication duly coordinated with Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and resulted in the seizure of drugs. Negative anti-drug operations duly coordinated with Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, but no drugs were seized from the subject. Implementation of warrant of arrest for violation of RA 9165, with or without seizure of drugs. And uncoordinated but not encouraged anti-drug operations with seizure of drugs, properly monitored and recorded. For operations without seizure of drugs, only implementation of SW for violation of RA 9165 shall be included. Harm done to a child's psychological or intellectual functioning which may be exhibited by severe anxiety, depression, withdrawal or outward aggressive behavior, or a combination of said behaviors which may be demonstrated by a change in behavior, emotional response or cognition. The answer is physical injury. The conduct of examining the engine and chassis number of a motor vehicle by a crime laboratory technician and/or police officer through the use of the naked eyes to determine whether there is a sign of tampering alteration. The answer is physical examination. Question number 71 refers to the data that have been processed into a document, report, memorandum, graphic or any other materials created to convey a message to the receiver. The answer is information. Question number 72 means the capability of transmitting a disease. The answer is infectious. Question number 73 is the output of SIRAS. It contains the data of the complainant, victim, suspect, case details and the narrative of the incident. The answer is Incident Record Form IRF. Question number 74. A happening in general. Any event. An occurrence. The answer is incident. Question number 75. A homemade device consisting of explosives, incendiary and firing components necessary to initiate explosion. The answer is improvised explosive device IED. Question number 76. The danger is imminent if it is on the point of happening. It is not required that the attack already begins, for it may be too late. The answer is imminent danger. Question number 77. What are the elements of imminent danger? The following are the elements of imminent danger. 1. Intent of the suspect to harm the policeman. 2. The capability of the suspect to harm the policeman or other people. 3. Accessibility or the proximity of the suspect in harming the policeman and other people. The following are the elements of imminent danger. 1. Intent of the suspect to harm the policeman. 2. The capability of the suspect to harm the policeman or other people. 3. Accessibility or the proximity of the suspect in harming the policeman and other people. Question number 78. Shall refer to the detainee's spouse or fiancé, parent or child, brother or sister, grandparent or grandchild, uncle or aunt, nephew or niece, and guardian or ward. The answer is immediate family members. Question number 79. Also termed in the U.S. as fresh pursuit shall mean an immediate, recent chase or follow-up without material interval for the purpose of taking into custody any person wanted by virtue of a warrant, or one suspected to have committed a recent offense while fleeing from one police jurisdictional boundary to another that will normally require prior official inter-unit coordination but which the pursuing unit cannot, at that moment, comply due to the urgency of the situation. The answer is hot pursuit. Cross-jurisdictional pursuit. Question number 80. A term which immediately conjures the images of a group of heavily armed and determined men and women holding up an airplane, ship, bus, van, or other vehicle in order to achieve their nefarious objectives. The answer is hijacking. Question number 81. Is a specialized seaborne law enforcement operation that involves the pursuit and boarding of a vessel with non-compliant armed suspect for violation of laws. The answer is high-risk vessel interdiction. Question number 82. Any PNP official holding a position of head of office of a higher unit, example, regional director. The answer is higher authorities. Question number 83. Is the actual stopping or accosting of armed and dangerous persons aboard a vehicle or on foot, including the power to use all necessary and legal means to accomplish such an end? The answer is high-risk stop. Question number 84. Is the actual restraint of armed persons following a high-risk stop? The answer is High-risk arrest. Question number 85. Refer to cases where the crime committed was directed against elected government officials, ego officials appointed by the president, judges, prosecutors, members of the Philippine Bar, media practitioners, militant party list members, leftists, labor leaders, foreign nationals, and other persons by means of shooting, bombing, strafing, enforced disappearance and other violent acts, resulting in their death or incapacitation that attract national, international public and/or media attention or scrutiny. The answer is heinous and sensational crimes. Question number 86. Referred to chemical, radiological, physical or biological factors, including infectious diseases, in our environment that can have negative impacts on our short or long-term health. Exposure can occur through radiological and nuclear exposure, touch, inhalation, and ingestion that can cause deadly and long-term effects in one's health. The answer is health hazard. Question number 87. Is an immediate response to block the escape of lawless elements from a crime scene, and is also established when nearby checkpoints are ignored or during hot pursuit operations. It is set up by police personnel conducting mobile patrol on board a marked police vehicle, or those conducting internal security operations and foot patrol operations within the vicinity, periphery of the national or provincial highways. The answer is hasty checkpoint. Question number 88. Refers to the crimes committed against children that constitute flagrant violations of their human rights and have severe consequences on their lives. These crimes include those enumerated in Section 9 Republic Act No. 11188, an act providing for the special protection of children in situations of armed conflict. The answer is grave child rights violation, GCRV. Question number 89. Includes the national government, the local governments, the government-owned and government-controlled corporations, all other instrumentalities or agencies of the Republic of the Philippines and their branches. The answer is government. Question number 90. Is used to distinguish common violence from violence that targets individuals or groups of individuals on the basis of their gender, UNICEF, 2003. It is a form of violence that is directed at a person on the basis of gender or sex. It includes acts that inflict physical, mental or sexual harm or suffering, threat of such acts, coercion and other deprivations of liberty, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW. The answer is gender-based violence, GBV. Question number 91. Shall mean the venue or place established or designated by local government units within their respective jurisdictions where a public assembly could be held without securing any permit for such purpose from the local government unit concerned. The answer is Freedom Park. Question number 92. Or organizations outside the government which perform voluntary public safety services in support to existing government public safety functions and programs. The answer is force multipliers. Question number 93. Are members of the police, military, fire, medical teams, and other volunteer organizations who are expected to be the first to respond to calls for assistance in cases of incidents involving explosives. The answer is first responders. Question number 94. Persons, units, offices outside the PNP that may be affected by the implementation of this MC. These include students, members of the academy, other law enforcement agencies, media practitioners and the likes. The answer is external stakeholders. Question number 95. Any explosive-involved situation that encompasses bombings, incendiary bombings, attempted bombings, stolen and recovered explosives, threats to government facilities involving explosives, hoax devices and bomb threats. The answer is explosive-related incident, ARI. Question number 96. The detection, identification, field evaluation, rendering safe, recovery and final disposal of unexploded explosive ordnance, UXO. It may also include the rendering safe and/or disposal of EO which has become hazardous by damage or deterioration when the disposal of such EO requires procedures or equipment which exceed the normal requirement for routine disposal. The answer is explosive ordnance disposal, EOD. Question number 97. Compose of EOD and K-9 personnel ready to respond to any explosive-related incidents. The answer is Explosive Incident Response Team, EIRT. Question number 98. PNP K-9 used during detection of explosive substance. The answer is explosive detection dog, ed. Question number 99. Is a solid or a liquid which, upon application or heat or shock, breaks down very rapidly into gaseous products, with an accompanying release of heat energy? The answer is explosive component. Question number 100. A reactive substance that contains a great amount of potential energy that when initiated can produce an explosion, usually accompanied by the production of light, heat, sound and pressure. The term includes, but it is not limited to low and high explosives, propellants, pyrotechnics, igniters, initiators, primary, secondary and tertiary explosives. The answer is explosive.